So what is a solution? A solution to an equation is a value that you can replace a variable with in order to make the equal sign a true statement. So it's saying the equation, that really is the equal sign. Because it's possible to see an equal sign, but it ends up being a false statement. So for example, if I saw an equal sign like this, and I said, you know what, 2 equals 2. Really, this is more of a question, right? And you got to be careful because sometimes people will give you equivalence statements like this one, but it is actually a false statement. So it's up to you to determine, is this actually true or is it false? So if I ask you, does 2 equal 2, what would you say? But yeah, 2 definitely does equal 2. That right there is a true statement. Now, of course, we understand, hopefully, that I could be like, now is it true? It literally is as easy as 12 definitely does not equal 2. So now you have a false statement. And of course, if I were to be like, okay, well, now I've changed it back into a true statement, right? Well, what we do in math is we can kind of start with this type of statement and say, well, 12 definitely does equal 12. But like we've said before, sometimes 12, I don't want it to be 12 directly. What I would like it to be is something like 10 plus 2. Okay, now this statement is still true, and that it's fine. It's still a 12 on the left side. I just changed the way that it looked. That's all I did. I changed the way that it looked. I didn't actually change its overall value. So if I did something like this as well, so if I said, you know what, we're going to take the 12 minus 5, and then we're going to plus 5 right there. I still did not change the value, or if that equal sign is true, right now, even though I subtracted it and added 5 to the right side there, it is still true. Now here's what I'm going to do as well. Let's take that plus 5. Okay, so in fact, let's go back here as well. Okay, so see this 12? I got 12. Right now, this statement is false. But the question becomes, how can I make it true? Well, I would say probably just erase the minus 5. And then it's like, oh, it's pretty obviously true. But what I can do is I can just say, you know what, I'll just do minus 5 right there as well. So with equality, what happens with an equals statement like this, if you want truthfulness, if that's what you want, which we do want in a math class, by the way, we want this to be true in the end. What I'm showing right here is if I do something to the left side, or even to the right side, I need to do it to the other side of the equal sign to maintain equality. Now again, sometimes that 12 on the left, maybe it doesn't look like 12. Maybe it looks like something like 10 plus 2. Now 10 plus 2 minus 5 is still the same and equal to 12 minus 5. Here's what we do sometimes though, because as math people, we're like, there's no letters, and we learn to love letters in math problems, and we want everyone else to love them, even though they hate them. So what we'll do is we'll say, we can look at this and we see 10 plus 2 minus 5, it equals 12 minus 5, and right now we declare it true because overall the value on the left is 7, and overall on the right the value is 7. But then what we're going to do, we're going to say, look at this right here. Oh, okay, now we're going to say we need this to be true. We need this equal sign to be true, but what would the value of x be to make it true? Well, if I wanted it to be true, just like we saw barely, you'd have to make the x a 2. Well, okay, that's how I get truthfulness. Again, like I was saying before, let's say I replaced x with 3. Would I have a true statement? No. Now, what if I replaced, let's go with something pretty extreme here. Let's say I said x was 1,000,000. Is it true? Definitely not true, okay? So the only value of x that will make this true is x is 2. Bam. And that's what we're saying right here. Well, on the assignment, it's going to say something like solve for x, or it'll just say something like solve. And if it does, it's really saying what value of x will make this equal sign a true statement. Because when you start out, so here's what it's going to look like. Usually you start out with something like x plus 5 equals 100, I don't know. Okay, but if it says solve for x, it's really saying, please find the value of x that makes this true. Because there's a million values that make it false. Well, there's actually an infinite number of values that make it false, both negative and positive, fractional and decimal, not that we care. But again, it just tells you that if you're gonna gamble on this, because when I do my junior high classes, they're like, you know what, I'll just guess on all of them. X is 5. And it's like, okay, well, you have an infinite possibility of getting that wrong unless it's C for some reason. I guess I don't know if I addressed that adequately. So finally, a solution, like down here, a solution is a value you can replace a letter with to make it a true statement. Because we have this whole statement right here.